Well, here's one for you account managers out there. I know I've had a bit of a criticism about this being purely new business focused. So I wanted to talk a little bit about account management. In fact, I'm going to be running a series specifically on the disciplines, the processes and the skills of actually managing an account and making sure that you're upselling, cross-selling, growing and ultimately getting that account to renew. So what we're going to talk about today is the first 90 days. Well, why is that so important? If you're selling a subscription like software or a service, those first 90 days are so unbelievably critical, particularly if you're working on an annual cycle. The reason they're so important is that statistics tell us that the decision to actually renew happens in that first 3 months, because it gives them an indication of the relationship that you've set, the service that you're going to provide, the quality of your product, but more importantly, how they're extracting value from your product or service. So let's start by talking about what we shouldn't do. Now, what you see on the screen here is all too familiar, and this happens in organizations across the globe every single day. You sell someone the product, you get excited, service drops off, you don't learn what they're trying to achieve with the product, you don't match what the customer's trying to do with what your product can achieve, set goals, set expectations, set and celebrate any achievements as well. And then what happens is we get to Q4 and this is where we start having the renewal conversation. When the customer hasn't extracted any value, they've probably not heard from you during the course of the year, and the first conversation you're having is, do you want to renew? When they've not extracted any value. This is not how we want to do it. We want to make sure that in that first quarter, we are absolutely over-servicing the account and we are killing them with love. So if that's how you do it wrong, this is how you do it right. Now the bit that should stand out to you immediately is, what do they need to achieve? Why did they purchase your product in the first place? Because this is the driving force behind actually extracting that value. What are the outcomes that they're expecting? What are the tasks or the achievements they want to get from the product itself? What's it going to help them do better? Now with that, we need to actually determine what success looks like. So doing it is one thing, but doing it successfully is equally important. In a dream world, we can extract some metrics from the customer to demonstrate that it's worked, but it's worked to a standard that's deemed acceptable for them. And this in itself is a real skill. So what kind of metrics can we look at? I mean, it could be a whole multitude of different things depending on what your product does. If it helps them generate leads or helps them generate revenue, or there's some tangible outcome, then we should be looking at a manageable way of actually doing that and defining that success with a client. Now, many of you are sitting there going, well, that's easier said than done, because the customer might have an unrealistic expectation of what the product can do, or the BDM or the AE has missold them the product and now I've got to onboard them and obviously help them extract the value. Well, this is why it's really important to realign, negotiate and agree. It's important that you set that very, very early, or you're actually starting from a losing position. From day one, the product's not going to hold up to the standard that the customer's expecting. This in itself is a real skill, and something that good account managers do very, very well is actually negotiate with the customer on the deliverables and also what success looks like with that customer as well. The key thing there is agreement. Once you've set that goal or that objective, get agreement from the client that that's what success will look like for the next 3 months. A really handy tip is to set an easy, achievable goal in the first month to help the customer see that there's some progress and they're already getting something from the product. That might be something really, really simple from an account management point of view. You might set within the first 2 weeks that you want every single user trained on the product. Or you can actually say that every single user has done an event on the product, whatever that is that you sell and whatever your product does. Straight away, you've got some success to celebrate with a customer in that first 3 months. And that's really, really important. And that kind of brings us down to why those first 90 days are so critical and key, is because the customer wants to feel like that it's doing what they purchased it to do. And on top of that, they're achieving something with the product. The state they were in before they purchased your product, is different to the state that they're in now. And they are extracting value, which is absolutely critical. I will be doing a video on the next 90 days where we can start asking for cross-sell, upsell opportunities, where we've earned the right to do that because of the success that we're demonstrating with the product. As always, guys, remember to subscribe. It genuinely helps and allows me to make more videos like this. Like, share, leave a comment, and as always, happy selling.